All right, today we're tackling the final piece of the puzzle, the fourth law of behavior change. Make it satisfying. And trust me, to really get why this is so powerful, we're going to start with this incredible story about a public health crisis and a simple bar of soap that, believe it or not, changed everything. Okay, so I want you to picture this. The year is 1998. We're in Karachi, Pakistan, one of the most packed cities on the planet. And the setting here, it's not just some random detail, it's everything. It's at the very heart of a massive crisis. The crisis was just immense. I mean, think about it. More than half the population was crammed into slums. The streets? They were either choked with dust and garbage or were literally open sewers. You've got no clean water, no sanitation. So of course, disease is just running wild. A third of all kids were malnourished. It was a full-blown public health nightmare. So, into all of this chaos steps this American public health worker, a guy named Stephen Luby. And he shows up with a belief that seems almost too simple, right? He believed that one tiny habit could literally be the difference between life and death, just washing your hands. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, the solution seemed obvious. Easy, right? Well, not so much. Implementing it was a whole other story. Luby and his team immediately hit this massive wall, what we can basically call the consistency problem. And this was the big mystery they had to solve. The people there, they knew hand washing was important. This wasn't an education issue. So if they all understood why they should be doing it, why wasn't it sticking? You know, the problem wasn't the idea, it was the follow-through. People were doing it, but kind of half-heartedly. You know, maybe they'd splash their hands under some water, or just wash one hand, or, what happens to all of us, they'd just forget. The issue was never about knowledge. It was all about consistency. And this is what led Luby's team to this amazing aha moment. They realized they had to shift their entire focus. It wasn't about education anymore. It was about the experience. And that one little shift, well, it changed everything. This quote from Stephen Luby himself just nails it. He said, "I see the goal not as behavior change, but as habit adoption." He got that it wasn't enough to just get someone to do something once. The real win was to install a habit that was so deep, so automatic, they didn't even have to think about it. And to do that, the whole experience had to feel different. So, what was this big, brilliant solution? You're not going to believe how simple it was. Luby's team got together with Procter & Gamble and started giving out a premium soap called Safeguard. Now, this wasn't just any old soap. It was specifically designed to make the whole process better. So what was the big deal with Safeguard soap? Well, unlike the basic stuff they had before, this soap had this really nice smell and it foamed up really well, creating a thick lather. These tiny little details totally transformed a boring chore into something that was actually kind of pleasant. It just felt good to use. And the results? They were absolutely mind-blowing. In just a few months, the health of the entire community turned around. Diarrhea cases slashed by more than half. Pneumonia down 48%. That common skin infection, impetigo, dropped by 35%. This wasn't some small improvement. This was a massive public health victory, all from a bar of soap. But honestly, the most shocking result came years later, and it all comes down to one single number, 95%. Now, what on earth could that mean? It turns out, 6 whole years later, long after the free soap was gone, researchers went back, and they found that 95% of households still had a place set up for hand washing. The habit had become so satisfying, so ingrained, that people just kept doing it on their own. It wasn't just a temporary change, it was a permanent adoption. This story is the perfect illustration of what we call the cardinal rule of habits. What is rewarded is repeated. It's really simple when you break it down. Our brains are hardwired to do more of what feels good. See, positive emotions, they build habits. Negative emotions, they tear them down. This is the absolute bedrock principle of making any change last. So this fourth law is what really ties the whole process together. The first 3 laws, make it obvious, attractive, and easy, they're all about getting you to do the thing this one time. But make it satisfying, that's the secret sauce that makes sure you do it again next time and the time after that. It's what closes the loop and puts the whole thing on autopilot.
Okay, so you might be thinking, that's a great story about Pakistan, but what about me? Well, this pattern is absolutely everywhere, even in the habits you already do without thinking. Let's talk about something super common, chewing gum. For the longest time, chewing gum was, well, it was pretty boring. Just this bland, chewy resin. But then, in 1891, a guy named Wrigley had a brilliant idea. Add flavor. Spearmint, juicy fruit. And suddenly, you had this satisfying taste and that fresh mouth feeling. That little reward turned a weird little product into a worldwide habit.
And it's the exact same logic with your toothpaste. That minty flavor, it doesn't actually make your teeth any cleaner. It's just there to create that satisfying, clean mouth feeling that makes you want to repeat the behavior. It's a reward system hiding in plain sight in your bathroom. But wait, there's one last super important detail we need to get right if we're going to make this law work for us. It's not just about any reward. The timing of that reward. Well, timing is everything. And here it is, the key to the whole thing. Your brain isn't just looking for a reward. It's looking for an immediate reward. It's got this massive bias for things that feel good right now. So when you're trying to build a new habit, the reward can't be some far-off goal. It has to be something you feel right away, in the moment. That immediate hit of satisfaction is what sends a signal to your brain that says, hey, that was good. Remember that. Let's do it again. So I want you to think about a habit you're trying to build right now. Yeah, you know the long-term benefits. That's why you started. But what about right now? What's one tiny, immediate reward you can tack on to tell your brain, hey, this feels good. Let's do this again. Because that simple little tweak, that could be the one thing that makes your new habit stick for good.